forgot it's him doing so much. Oh my gosh. Hi everybody, so I'm sorry about this really weirdly videoed video, and also really sorry if I keep looking. It doesn't look I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at my phone. So I know a lot of people nowadays want to learn Korean, with it being so popular with like K-pop and things like that. But I wanted to kind of help people who were just beginning, or people who might have been learning for a little bit but wanted to improve. I am by no means an expert at all. I've been learning for around about 9 months now. So if you are a user of the BTS Amino app, not sponsored, you might see a lot of like, teach me Korean, someone help me learn Korean chats, and I'm often in them. You can follow me, by the way. I wanted to try and answer a few questions that I see quite oftenly asked, and also just some extra tips. The first question that I get a lot is, how do I start? I think you should start by learning Hangul, which is the Korean alphabet. First, get yourself kind of familiar with the characters. I don't know how many characters there are, but there's less than like in the English alphabet, and they are pretty easy to remember if you learn them. Like A is this character, K is this character, and things like that. And once you've kind of got yourself very familiar with the character, you can start practicing with kind of simple vocab, you know, like hello, bye, apple, I don't know, basic words. Just kind of get yourself used to seeing them in like their blocks and reading them together. And then I would recommend, maybe not straight away, but learning their proper pronunciations is very important. You might say one thing with the intention of it meaning, for example, coffee, and end up saying it different and ending up with nosebleed. So be completely careful with how you pronounce things. I see a lot of people who, you know, they go on about how it's important to learn Hangul, but they still speak very Romanized. The whole point of learning Hangul is to pronounce things correctly. It has made a huge difference. For example, the Leah character is very commonly mistaken for an R-L sound, which is how we learn it when we're learning like A is this, B is this. It's not an English letter. It isn't an R and it isn't an L. Similarly, like the characters that, you know, people will be like, oh, it's a G or a K, it's a B or a P. It might not be either. It's just its individual character, and I think that's a very important thing to know. The next thing when you're starting out as well, I would recommend to find something that's very reliable for you to learn with. For me, I use talktomekorean.com, which is an incredible website. This isn't sponsored, by the way. The lessons and the PDFs are free. You can also get the books and ebooks and things like that, which do cost. I have like the level 1 to 3, this is level 3 ones. And I also have the verb guides as well. When I first started learning Korean, I actually made this, which is pretty badly made. I basically just started with like a learning schedule, which I never stuck to. Make yourself a little notebook or something like that if that's what you like to do. This is how I used to do it before I got my textbooks and stuff. So if you don't have textbooks, take notes yourself. I always find that if I write things down, and you can see I write in very obnoxious amount of detail, it helps me to remember. You don't have to get the books. I know lots of people have studied without the books and they are still amazing at Korean. One thing that I did hear from somebody else was not to get too many books. If you buy too many of the same things, you are just going to have wasted a lot of money on things which are pretty much the exact same. I also have a friend who's very similar level to me in Korean, and she uses howtostudykorean.com, I think it is. So there's a lot of different websites that you can use to study Korean, not just Talk to Me in Korean, but that's just one that I personally use and I would personally recommend from experience. The next thing I get asked a lot is, can you teach me Korean? I'm still teaching people that I've said yes to like months ago, and I'm getting like more and more people obviously then asking me, oh, can you teach me as well? Can you do this as well? And it's a lot. It's a lot for people who are teaching to have to be constantly putting out things for people, and it gets very exhausting, and then it gets to the point where you just can't be bothered. Basically what I'm getting at here is, if you ask someone to teach you Korean, it's gonna be exhausting for them, and they probably have a lot of people already asking them as well. So don't depend completely on somebody else to teach you Korean unless it's somebody who is like definitely saying, oh, I can teach you Korean the whole way through. If someone's like kind of volunteering to teach you Korean, I wouldn't recommend that you completely depend on them, because there's going to be times where they're busy and there's going to be times where you want to learn and maybe they're not active. It's better to find things for yourself rather than just going straight to asking people. If like there's any of you who like need help or you have any questions about like certain things, I will happily explain things to you as best as I can. I will happily send you links to resources and, you know, just help you as much as I can myself. But to teach you absolutely everything, I don't do as much anymore. Have a good reason to study Korean. I see a lot of people saying, oh, I want to study it so I can understand BTS, so I can read lyrics, things like this. And whilst these are, you know, they are valid excuses, I don't personally think that, at least for me, I would be able to spend years learning this language for half of it to not be relevant. It tends to be more kind of deep stuff, so learning conversation isn't going to be very useful for you. So I'd say if you want to learn Korean, look at your purpose to learn what you are aiming to and set what you learn for that, and you're going to be a lot more motivated doing it that way. I'd say for people who just want to learn it but they don't know how to keep themselves going, say set yourself a realistic time period. For me, I want to take Korean at university, so I have around about 1 or 2 years to get to a point where I'm comfortable at having a conversation. I'm not saying to myself be completely fluent, but I'm also not saying don't lag behind, learn as much as you can. Also along the same tracks, I see people saying like, how do I balance my time and things like that. I'm really busy with school, I really want to learn Korean but I've got so much work and stuff like that. Don't let Korean get in front of your work. If you finish the school, then, you know, devote a lot of time to it. But I'd say even if it's just for like 20 minutes a day, learn some Korean. If you have to miss out on a day because, you know, you've got a really important test coming up, then so be it. Just make sure you can then go back and keep practicing it. So that's also what I kind of want to go on to next, is practice. For pronunciation things, definitely try to surround yourself as much as you can. Where I live in England, there's like no native Korean speakers absolutely anywhere. I have to find everyone online. There's apps like iTalki and HelloTalk. I have quite a few friends who's like been born in Korea and speak Korean, who help me quite a lot with practicing, and you know, they're just kind of, they're, you know, friends that I have that I know if I'm struggling with something, I can just be like, oh, I need help with this. Have people that you can ask at the same time, and it's difficult to find people. If you do use the BTS Amino app or like an Amino app, there's a lot of people who join very frequently, and if you join very frequently, it's very easy to become friends with them. There's a lot of people that I am really close friends with just because I've been in every single Korean chat and so have they. So also, you know, K-dramas, K-pop, watching, I don't know, Bangtan Bombs, or watching whatever can help you with recognizing things. So if you might hear something that you recognize, play it back and, you know, be kind of like, oh, I recognize what it said, and repeat it. Also, what I've actually noticed kind of like helps me a little bit, even though I've already done it, is the YouTube channel Jolly, which is Josh and Ollie from Yongguk Namja. I will link as well them down below. They do videos where Josh teaches Ollie Korean. Actually helped me kind of like recall stuff and just kind of be like, oh yeah, I know. And Josh sometimes goes into a bit more detail and like mention things that I don't know, or like Ollie will say something and ask a question and I'll be like, oh, I never thought to ask that before. If you want to be friends or have any help with Korean or anything at all, you can add me on BTS Amino or on Kakao. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm sorry that I was looking over here a lot of the time. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful or some use to you. So thank you, and subscribe to see everyone else's videos as well. Goodbye.